Hello, sir. How are you this night?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing. I'm doing okay.
Sorry again about being so late and
Oh,
the
no
whole
worries, man.
still. I should have
I've
known it was going to be that kind of night. I hoped otherwise, but I should have known.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I heard a beep beep beep, and it sounded like a drone.
Yes, I didn't expect when
Was
you said
that
you
was
needed
that?
a few more minutes, I thought you meant like a few more minutes, not, a minute and two. So I was just double checking whether there was a firmware update for the Mini Pro while I was waiting.
Do we need to record a double tonight?
Technically, no. So
Yeah.
I actually put some notes together because I was trying to be,
Woo!
proactive for a change. Technically, with what we have recorded, we get to January 6th. As long as we
Oh, that's a
record
shitty
tonight,
day.
yeah. As long as we record tonight, that gives the flexibility where post surgery I feel pretty good. Because I might be able to record without a problem on the 6th, but I might need that
Let's
extra week as well.
let's
So,
let's let's make sure you can have that extra week.
yeah, I mean, as long as we record tonight, it doesn't matter how little we have. That gives me an episode for getting us to the 13th.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear. I'm sorry about your ankle. That is not what you wanted to hear.
No, I mean, about a year ago, I started having the feeling that I probably should have had someone else take a look as well. But it didn't bother me. And so I didn't rush. I just assumed it was a, long road to recovery because you're talking about a tendon, um, which is true. But after the New York trip, it was aching more than normal. And so as soon as we got back, I called and scheduled with a different group because I wanted a different opinion. And yeah, my gut feeling was right. That it was probably not diagnosed well enough the first time through. The stuff that was done was right for trying to prolong time to surgery, but we're at that point where it's either do surgery now or wait and let it rupture the rest of the way through, and then we're talking fused joints and all to alleviate. So yeah, I would rather go ahead and get it done now. But I had that sneaky suspicion that that was going to be the answer. It just, 3 years later and it still doesn't feel normal is
God,
it's a
has it been
problem.
3 years?
Yeah,
Whew.
technically, technically closer to 3.5 because it was about halfway to 3/4 of the way through 2020, and we're almost at the end of 2024. So yeah, definitely. I really do not look forward to it, but at the same time, it it's really the difference between whether it was done a couple of years ago or done now at the moment. Like it's not.
Six of one, half dozen of the other.
Yeah, I would have rather just had it done, sure, but at the same time, we haven't progressed to a point where it's irreversible and I can be angry because of misdiagnosis that caused me substantial problems later. We're still
Just
in that, okay, we
delayed the
can
inevitable.
recover. It's just got to be done now.
Right, right.
That's kind of how I have managed to make myself not be angry about it because it's no different than what the answer would have been then. It's just
Right.
a little bit later and probably in a little worse shape for sure, but it's still the same surgery. So, okay.
Man, and you said how many remind me how many weeks you said that you have no weight on it?
12 weeks.
Oh my god, you're going to kill people. Well, not you won't you're going to want to, but you won't
Yeah.
be able to because you won't be able to catch up to them.
Yeah. Um, she did. So when I was talking to the doctor, she said there are two options when we're talking about the surgery. We can do either way. We have to borrow from the tendon beside it, weave it into this tendon that's ruptured, and give it support. The two options come on the protective side of things, where option one is to um, I think she still said cut into the heel some. There might have been a pin on the heel. I don't know. What it amounts to is it's less invasive reconstructive surgery with 6 weeks off the foot instead of 12. What we're doing to take it a step further is we're cutting a section of the heel away, adding a wedge to the front portion of the foot on the bottom to correct the mechanical alignment of everything to protect the repaired tendon. And that's 12 weeks non-weight bearing and then rehab. And I made it real simple. It's like, if I choose the 6-week option, what's the likelihood I'm talking to you again in 10 years to have this done all over? And she just nodded her head. Yeah, it's more likely that that will be the outcome. I said, then let's just take the 12 weeks. I would rather stay off of it longer now for a proper repair than to take the shorter time frame out and still be looking at rehab and recovery anyway after that. Like the difference between 6 weeks and 12 weeks is not worth me having to do this all over again in 10, 15 years.
And if the only drawback is that that it's a 12-week recovery versus 6-week, then because in 10 years you're going to do another 6 to 12-week recovery or longer.
Right.
So I get it.
And so it's going to suck, and I'm probably going to get really good at maneuvering around on that peg leg device thing that they told me about. But, I have enough other things now that I'm working on to occupy myself for about 4 to 5 weeks of that anyway. So I think it's okay. I'm still going to go stir crazy, but I think it's okay.
If you need some movies recommendation or TV show recommendations, I can help with that. I'm sure you have a long list already. So,
yeah I might be going through a lot of that. But realistically, I've got a pesky data management issue that I've got to fucking figure out, and this is the perfect time to do it.
Hey, so speaking of which, that's a great segue into talking about. Are you saying the name right now?
Sure. So it is visible on the App Store for pre-order. You just can't actually get it as an end user yet.
Oh, I could. I guess you could edit this, or you could just throw it wherever. But you did have a bonus after show topic of martial arts journey.
Yes.
App. So I sent you a video because I was. So what I was thinking, I was like, okay, I've been meaning to send this video or this screenshot rather. For I don't know, since after you resolved the issue with at least on my side, the version I had, it wasn't saving the data, and so what I was thinking, I thought about it even before that issue, but I was like, it really needs a done button. I felt like I needed a done button, and I went into the app and I was like, okay, why do I feel like I don't need a done button? Because you put a save button and you actually tweaked the UI more than I was expecting and negated the reason for a done button. So I sent you a thank you screenshot.
And I realized I didn't even respond. I meant to. I just got sidetracked.
Oh, that's
because I was fighting with this data management issue.
Well, I figured we'd talk about it anyway. So no biggie there. But I was hoping that you, and I figure you did, but I was hoping you'd notice, like, I'd left some, well, I mean, there's just some obvious, like, references in the screenshot that I sent to you, since I don't actually practice any martial arts, so I'm just making stuff up. I know you saw that, but I also left a little Easter egg for you in the it's not really an Easter egg, but in the dynamic island.
I'm going to have to go back and look now and see if I noticed. I did not notice. When you mentioned it, I looked a little bit closer.
Yeah, and then the video that I sent to you, it had a little, I wouldn't say an Easter egg, but a little something. And when I sent the video, I'm not finding it right now. It had the score line of the team I was watching.
I do think I remember seeing that.
Yeah, because they had just finished a match and they won, and I was like, oh, now's a great time for me to send this video. So I did. Anyway, you guys are doing all right.
We're gonna have to talk about that a little bit at some point. Yeah, we have done surprisingly well given the expectations for the season.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Where I don't, I'm really. I was disappointed with the weekend's result in Liverpool playing the other Liverpool team, and but today was okay.
That was postponed. Liverpool Everton.
No. We played Everton over the weekend on Saturday.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry,
And
I was going to say the Merseyside Derby got postponed. I thought that was this weekend, but it must have been the weekend before.
So we played Everton. Everton came down south and played us on Saturday, and it was a 0-0.
That's disappointing. I didn't.
Yeah, it really was. It shouldn't have been, and we played better than a 0-0 draw, but we just couldn't find the back of the goal.
I mean, here recently with our results, it seems like we just can't go the first 15 minutes without conceding and then having to win the game afterwards.
Oh wow! I will say, it allowed Chelsea to squeak out a little bit closer to the top, and they've closed the gap. Oh no, but you've got a game in hand.
Yeah, we're still 5 points ahead, right? Or is it down to 3?
You're down to 2. Chelsea's got 34 points, but you've got a game in hand.
Gotcha.
So with another win, you're 5 points clear.
Yeah, it'll be back to 5. So the last time I looked was prior to their most recent match.
Same. I just now looked in because I knew that we were gonna slip a little bit because of Saturday's match.
Man, City has had a bit of a slide, and I love every moment of it.
Oh, me too. It feels so good. It feels so good that they're not even in the top 4. Like at this rate, honestly, if this could hold, oh my God, I'd be happy with the Liverpool winning. I'd be not as happy as Arsenal, but I'd be happy with just to see Man City. But if we could keep these numbers for the rest of the season, it'd be fantastic because then it would be City would not. They wouldn't even be able to qualify for the Champions League. Unless they won it.
Speaking of, we've done really well in the Champions League so far.
I haven't gone to see actually what the new format is, so I don't even know if we're doing well.
I haven't read up to understand the new format, but I know that right now is the more or less like mini league stage where you have a group of teams that you play against, and then you can win your group and advance directly to the round of 16 instead of having apparently some sort of playoff berth thing. I don't know. I really did not pay attention, but
I need to.
We have won every game in this stage at the Champions League so far. Like that's quite amazing. We're at a point where we are automatically qualified for the round of 16.
We have 1 loss and 1 draw. That's awesome.
And Real Madrid obviously has a bit of a history with Liverpool as well in recent Champions League encounters, and we took care of them without a problem.
Yeah, they're not doing so great.
No, they lost a lot when they recent seasons, and well, I guess going into this season is when a lot of players shuffled.
So if I'm looking at this correctly, I think we are also automatically qualifying because we're 3rd. And if you notice I don't know if you're looking at a standings table, but there's a team that's 7th.
I wasn't, but now I'll have to pull it up. I'm assuming it's City.
It's not.
Oh.
City's a bit.
I was hoping.
They're way farther down.
Oh, that is surprising.
Yeah. I'd like to list the teams that are better than City right now in the Champions League, and the next one up starts with Celtic, which is not typical. And then Real Madrid and Club Brugge and Feyenoord and Sporting and Monaco and Benfica and Juventus and Atalanta, Milan, Atletico Madrid, Bayern, Dortmund. I don't know LOSC. I'm not familiar with this. Brest is best.
Lille.
Inter Milan.
Lille was the one you skipped over.
Who?
Lille, Lille.
Oh, I must be looking at. I'm looking at a different table. Are they number 8?
Yeah, they are.
Okay. On this table, I see them as LOSC. So it must be Lille Olympic Sporting Club. That's my guess.
That
But
would
it's
make
probably
sense.
Lee,
Yeah,
because
probably.
like
It's definitely a
Olympic is Olympique Sporting Club, because that's like when you said Lille, I automatically knew that it was going to be Olympique Sporting Club because of Marseille,
yeah.
and I was right. But Brest, I don't know if you saw Brest.
I did. That was the one that
Uh,
you initially were talking about, and there's an
yes,
associated clip that I think you shared,
yeah, I did.
which
I
is
was going to ask you.
where that came to mind. Yeah,
Yeah, it was. I can't remember who was asked to not speak, but I remember Henri and somebody else having a good time
Carragher.
making the guy. It was Carragher.
Yeah,
Okay. Anyway, yeah, that was a good clip.
and then you have to
Um.
finish. Then you have Inter Milan, and then
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Inter Milan, Aston Villa, I think it's Bayern Leverkusen.
correct.
But it's. I guess there's no N there. It's Bayer Leverkusen. I was watching some television show and they said stick. Oh, they said stick and the yeah, I think they were talking about a stick shift vehicle, and it was an Englishman talking to a German man, and he said shtick, and I was like he wasn't like he wasn't thinking anything of it. It just came out that way because that's how I guess that's how they say. That's typical pronunciation. So, and then you have Barcelona, and at the top of the table is Liverpool Football Club.
You skipped number 3.
I thought I said Arsenal.
I mean,
Arsenal's third.
if you did, it was the first time through and not following it up. But
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I didn't just say it, so
Correct. You did say you guys were in third before we went into who all
right,
was
but
above.
not when I was
Yeah.
listing everybody above Man City. All 21 clubs. You know, I used to feel this way about Manchester United, and I don't. And so I know that one day I won't feel this way about Manchester City, and that'll be a lovely day. It'll be a great day when everybody's feeling this way that's not an Arsenal fan about Arsenal.
I do think a lot of it has to do with how consistent you are for a few years. Like if you win
Yeah.
it every 3 or 4 years, nobody bats an eye. But
No,
if you throw money at it and dominate for 3 or 4 years, it's just kind of clear what's going on.
or when you throw money in it and dominate for a decade,
Yeah.
or in the case of Manchester United, at least 2 decades. Like they dominated the Premiership for most of its current. Even today, even though they haven't. I can't remember the last time that they've won. But even today, even though they haven't won, they still have more Premiership wins than I think any other team.
I could see that being a legitimate stat.
Because I would say more wins for sure in its current incarnation. Because I think it was the early '90s that it was the Barclays English Premier League. I'm gonna do some real time.
That's fine. I was shifting around and I didn't want to talk with all of that in the background, so I didn't have to try to clean it up. That's going to be the one drawback from the surgery thing is I got to figure out where I'm going to relocate to for being able to prop up the foot now that I've redone the office area because it wasn't, predicated on excess foot space.
Oh yeah, okay.
I mean, I have a couple of theories about how I don't have to do much, but I got to figure that out over the next couple of days before we're out of town because I'm not going to have much time when we get back.
I'm not gonna. This is not an easy thing. Anyway.
We can make it follow up. That's fine. I will say one of the things that has attracted me even more to Liverpool over, I don't know, the past 3 or 4 years is they haven't been afraid to spend money for certain things, but they're still very frugal compared to like the income and expenses of the club itself. Yeah, it's not like what I have noticed is a current management doesn't overspend based on what they have, even if it's like high dollar amounts here and there, or high euro amounts or pound amounts, however you want to phrase it. And that's been evident in the way Michael Edwards ran transfers prior to his departure, and then now that he's back over, I think the new title was general manager of football. I don't know. I don't. He came back with a whole different responsibility structure, but he is over indirectly or directly the transfers again, and his approach is what got things like Salah for 30,000 euros and that kind of thing. Like he has been so frugal with regard to acquiring like the raw talent at really, really, really shocking prices points that it was very clear when he left for a period, and then you had people like Allison and Van Dijk brought on for these very high price tags, which is still justifiable, but there was just a very different transfer market style behavior during his tenure and then without him there, as opposed to him coming back.
Well, I was thinking about Klopp as you were talking about that. And I'm glad to know that he as far as I haven't seen that he's not sick or anything, and I'm pretty happy about that.
I've seen him doing a bunch of interviews in Germany. He was around Dortmund again for some publicity stuff as well. So it looks like he's doing well.
Good. I'm glad he can go spend some time with his family.
I really do hope at some point he takes on a national coaching job.
Maybe go for Germany. I don't remember who.
He's been linked with it in the past, yeah. So it would be the one that I would expect he would be most likely to take. But, we'll see. I've been more impressed with Slot coming in to replace him, not knowing anything about him prior to his onboarding, than expected. But it's another one of those where it's just because I didn't know anything about him. It's not like I read up on all the different managers at different clubs.
Right.
So it's...
Yeah, I'm not familiar with his CV.
So when you go back and look at the Champions League stuff, he was at Leverkusen prior.
Okay.
Not that it really matters, but I want to jump back to, so we had 3 episodes that in a row that were kind of around a topic, and you sent a title suggestion that I laughed at, and I almost went ahead and used it, but then I kind of thought it might be a nice end point and wrapper on that group for this episode. Yeah. If you were up for going down that path.
I am. I have, I mean, I still feel a lot of positive feelings, regretfully.
Well, and in the wake of relatively recent developments, as far as people have apparently been contacting his legal counsel and trying to donate to fund it. Did you see that article by chance?
I did not. Please.
I don't have the article handy, so I might look and see if I can find it. But what we're talking about is the Mangione. Is that how you say his last name? The gentleman who shot the United Healthcare CEO in New York. His lawyer was reached out to for comment about people trying to get in touch with him to donate funds for his legal bills. And the question was basically what he thought of it, and his response, and I'm, again, paraphrasing a little bit because I don't have the article handy, but his response was, well, we've seen people can spend plenty of money to lobby and make their opinions known with regard to like the Supreme Court justices and Congress and et cetera, and maybe these people are trying to make their opinions known in this case as well. And it just very, very perfect response to that type of question. Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. I think it's certainly, I think there's certainly a national discussion about this. I think there are, obviously, I think this was mentioned on one of the previous episodes where we talked about this, but um, changes weren't made until, regarding the safety of C-suite executives and so forth, weren't made until people saw the public response to this assassination. And I'm confident that it scared people. I'm confident that it scared a lot of people, and
it should.
Yeah, it's time to be scared of being bad. I think by the time this episode is released, it won't be as timely. I know it won't be as timely as it was, but I recently heard a story about when a corporation did the right thing, and it's been a long time. But essentially, I'll give you the short version of it, and that was the Montgomery Ward catalog company was needing to save a little money one year because they normally would, and at Christmas time they would send coloring books out, and they did not buy any. And so one year they I think it was either 1937 or 1939, they decided to keep it in house, and so they paid one of their in-house copywriters, or didn't they had one of their in-house copywriters create the coloring book and a story and so forth, and he ended up creating the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And through the course of events, it became very popular, and eventually the Montgomery Ward Company gave the rights to the poem to the inventor. So because he had, he didn't make, he was salaried or hourly or whatever, he didn't make any extra money on it. He didn't, when it became popular, he didn't, that didn't go into his that didn't go to his pockets. And so, but they eventually gave it to him, and he was able to take it further, and he left his job. I mean, they gave him the rights, and it was like years later before he actually left his job to pursue more with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And I just thought it was really nice that they just gave it to him.
I actually did not know that story.
I didn't either. I saw it today. I can send you a link to a more in-depth, and can put it in the show notes. But it was a lovely story.
It is the kind of thing that there are two things that jump out at me. One, the company doing the right thing is kind of a novel idea anymore, but that's kind of the big part of the story. That's what jumps out at me. But the underlying piece there, that breeds employee loyalty. It's not like he jumped ship as soon as he got this potential avenue for really maximizing monetization or anything else. He still was with the company for a duration of time before leaving to pursue furtherment of this idea of the character. And that's the piece that so many miss. Like if you take care of your employees, they're not nearly as likely to just leave. They really right. They are as invested in driving the company forward as you are when you take care of them.
Yes. I had to do some the typical corporate training videos. They needed to be renewed, and it's obvious what's going on here. They're on a schedule. They have to say, oh yes, we had this employee, we requested this employee take this. It's sort of a requirement, and it's to cover their ass. And that's not to say that the content of the material isn't good, because I recently this week watched one on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it was good. It's good to hear that, good to talk about it, but it feels really, even though it's good to hear, it's like you're doing this because you have to. And maybe there are some people who chose this video or this series of training because they really do believe in it. I don't doubt that there aren't people in the company, but it's like, but the culture of the company doesn't really match what's being taught here. I just, there's a number of things like that, and it's annoying. It's like
there's so much that you can go into from that. I mean, any corporate training, for the most part, if it's not actually led by a person in a live training environment, I can almost guarantee you it's not going to reflect the culture of the company in any way, shape, fashion, or form. Anyway, So that's just one of the things that jumps out to me. I've been in many companies who have leveraged the same format in general, different platforms, whatever. But every single one, if they had training modules that you had to go to a website and click through, listen to, whatever, doesn't matter how interactive or static they were, it always was just the same rote, dry material that you could apply to any company just to satisfy a check mark.
Do you know why they call it woke?
Why?
Because those that are opposed to this type of thinking aren't willing to call it just being a decent fucking human.
I buy that.
Yep. I don't actually know where it comes from, but I think it came out from the African American vernacular.
I always assumed it had something to do with being awake and realizing what's going on and just...
Yeah, that's... Yeah. Red pill.
Yep. I do want to, not to necessarily derail it, but I want to take back to the potential headline you sent me. I actually want to...
We got off topic. Say it out loud.
Yeah, I want to say it out loud. Do you want to introduce it, or do you want me to?
Oh, please. You had the chuckle. You go for it.
So what you sent was, as a possible title idea, quote, "Unregulated gun laws can solve healthcare problems," end quote.
Who knew?
And part of why I laughed so hard, and I will say I legitimately laughed far harder than I probably should have, is because I had the exact thought that I put in the notes right after that, which is you could regulate gun control, or you could regulate healthcare, or you could just leave it all unregulated. And of course, we will choose the path of least restriction in order to let things occur however they occur, the same way we approach everything else in this country, or seemingly everything else. And that's what made me chuckle about it, is that it wouldn't take much to change this particular outcome in a number of different ways through a little bit of regulation. But a little bit of regulation is too much because it restricts freedoms.
There's so much.
Sorry, I didn't necessarily prepare you well enough for this conversation. But it's kind of like the healthcare debate as well. Not to, I guess, kind of tongue-in-cheek reference and proliferation anyway. But it wouldn't take much to restructure healthcare in this country to actually provide healthcare. Novel idea for an industry that's supposed to take care of people who need taken care of. And instead, we will build in as many different ways to not regulate it as possible for fear of it providing the basic service it's there to provide.
I mean, how else are you going to get kids to join the military if you give everybody health care?
At this point, they don't even get all that great of healthcare.
That's true. That's true.
I can't tell you how many clips I've seen over the past, we'll say a week, it hadn't even been that long, where it's the diametrically opposed views. For example, one was a German guy here in the States who was trying to get healthcare for, or some level of care for his wife who was involved in a car accident, and chronicling his experience where he waited a couple hours at one place only to find out she needed something that couldn't be done there and they had to go somewhere else, and so they had to walk however far, waited 3 more hours, probably still another 2-hour wait when they talked, and it's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to fly to Germany and we're going to go see a doctor and then fly back, because it would be faster than all the delays and everything else. And similar experiences with Americans going overseas for some sort of vacation, having an injury or something that has to be treated, and being amazed at how quickly they see, general practitioner and then a specialist and get everything taken care of, and how small that bill is afterwards. And we see this over and over and over and over, and you still have people that want to claim that the American healthcare system is good in any way, shape, fashion, or form.
Not just good, but the best.
It's the best at siphoning money into other people's pockets.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like I tried this a few times, and it was, hey, I need to. I called the healthcare, or I had to see a doctor for something. Called the doctor, and I said, hey, how much is it going to cost? Like, I don't know. Whomever I'm talking at the doctor's office is not the doctor. Well, who does know? Nobody knows because we don't know what we're going to do. Okay. What's the most it could cost? I'm not sure. Well, let's talk about what things that could be done, and let's do a line item thing. Like, well, we don't know. Well, then how are you going to bill me? Oh, after we do it, we're going to find out. Well, let's do it now. And it's just, it's infuriating. I was like, why can't I know the cost of what's going to happen? Like, I'm going to do it. I'm kind of like, maybe I could shop for a better price somewhere, but I mean, I just want to know how much I'm going to have to pay you at some point. Not, like it helps me figure out how to go about this. It's like, do I need to do this? There's some things, there are elective things. It's like, I don't have to do it now, but I do need to prepare for it. And it's like, if it's going to be X amount of money, well, maybe I want to wait until I have, cash to pay you. So it's infuriating. It's like, you can't tell me ahead of time how much it's going to cost, but by golly, you're going to tell me at the end. And one of the things that they don't tell you is that if you're in good standing but haven't paid your bill, they can't collect. Like, they can't send you to collections, rather. Like,
we can make a whole show over a lot of
all
this
the
other stuff.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people also don't know that even though rates are negotiated between like your insurance provider and care providers on a number of different things, etc., you don't have to just completely agree to what your insurance provider says. You can dispute every single item if you really want to go through the time to do so.
Well, that's the problem, is that, it's so convoluted, and it's designed to make sure that almost everybody doesn't or can't do that.
Yes, it's designed in a way that you're going to be trapped in all right, well, get me to the person who can talk to me about this. And it's, well, nobody can talk to you. It's an algorithm, or it's a spreadsheet, or it's just, an actuarial table, or whatever they're going to blame it on. It's like, well, somebody at some point has to be responsible for this thing. So you can either tell me
it's free.
Yeah. So you can either tell me it's, it is what this and this is why, or you can get me to somebody who is responsible for it, who can say it is this and this is why. Or you can go above them. Like, at some point, there is a decision maker that can say, this is why, and explain it. And if there's not, there is no reason whatsoever I should pay a penny because you can't explain why you're charging me. And I really want to harp on this one for a second, because that's the fundamental problem with healthcare in the U.S. None of it is explainable. So much has been invested into statistical models and algorithmic analysis and everything else that nobody understands anything about what they're seeing. They can tell you this is what is stated from this place, but I can't tell you how it got it. I can only tell you that this is what it tells me. And that is a fundamental problem with understanding anything about why something is priced the way it is. Much less the debate that healthcare shouldn't be priced as a for-profit thing in the first place. But that's entirely separate. It's all of the underlying explanation for why things cost what they cost is gone. Nobody can explain that to you.
That's a great way to hide price hikes.
And it's different based on whether you're male, female, over 30, under 30, over 40, under 40, like all of those things go into what you end up paying. That's the part that most people don't really understand, is just because you have theoretically this covered procedure, it might be covered more for you than it is for somebody else, or less for you than it is for somebody else, based on other things that go into that as well. And that's just bullshit.
Yeah, because it's like, because the most obvious one that the most obvious lifestyle choice that has a significant impact on this is smoking. Like if you're a smoker, you definitely you pay more, like all over the place for healthcare. And while it is somewhat understandable that that's the case, it doesn't take into account adrenaline junkies. It doesn't take into account how you drive your car. And quite frankly, those things are private. And I don't know. I think smoking should be a private thing too. That's, it feels so commonplace and common sense to increase the cost of healthcare for smokers. But at the end of the day, change smoker with something else. Like, lung disease isn't the thing that kills most Americans. It's heart disease, and heart disease is often linked to certain lifestyle changes that aren't necessarily being punished like smoking is. So it's a really, I don't know. I have feelings about them. I'm not sure what they are, but
I completely agree. Just to be clear, because you can make the same argument for sugar consumption, alcohol consumption, processed food consumption, exposure to lead, milk consumption. Like, it doesn't matter what it is that you choose. Every single one of those things could theoretically be tied to a difference between individual A and individual B. It does make sense that use of tobacco products increases risk of death and therefore increases risk in general. But there are plenty of other things that do too, and all of those are lifestyle choices, which should remain individual choices. None of it should be taken into account any more than like anything else from an individual perspective with regard to healthcare.
Well, again, it demonstrates the for-profit model,
right?
And I think that's like as you were saying that, I think that's what it actually is. It's not these things do make sense. Like you live this lifestyle. It's the likelihood of you needing healthcare, certain kind of healthcare increases. But if you do not have a for-profit model, if you have a government provided healthcare system that you have a problem, you come and get it taken care of. Yes, that's it creates a certain kind of discrimination that allows people to profit. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, healthcare companies are bottom feeders.
Yeah, I think it's easier to illustrate because, people, you can make plenty of arguments on negative behaviors for different reasons, right? But if you take something that is arbitrarily and objectively positive for the individual, such as exercise, and say the more you exercise, the more prone you are to injury because of said exercise, and therefore the more prone you are to leverage healthcare services, but you're not paying more, you're healthier, you're more fit, you're better off in general, you're using the system more than potentially other people because of your choice of engaging in exercise, but it's not looked at negatively. And it's not the same, and I don't want to say exercising is the same as tobacco use, but it is the same underlying thing. It's a lifestyle choice for whatever reason, and it's a increase in use of services for whatever reason tied to that lifestyle choice. And that's it. I can understand trying to make certain other subcases where, okay, if you are a tobacco user and you have lung cancer or cancer of the mouth, you're going to have to pay more of that out of pocket than somebody who is not a tobacco user. I understand why that would be a compelling argument, but it's only a compelling argument if you are trying to maximize profits.
Right. And that's the problem. It's gross. It's a terrible.
It's a profit-driven mentality instead of a care-driven mentality. And in a profession where the entire focus is on the care of the individual, anything other than a care-driven mentality is fucked up and shouldn't exist.
Yes.
I mean, that's the blunt way
No,
of
you
rephrasing
absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly correct. I couldn't have said it better. I could not have said it better. Sorry.
I was trying not to be that blunt, but at a certain point, that's what it comes down to.
You know, no more mincing of words.
I also just kind of liked making sure I had that sound bite in there.
Yeah.
I think that's most of what I had on that particular topic. It did spark enough side thought that I wanted to dedicate it, or the idea. I wanted at least some dedicated time to kind of work through it in an episode instead of it being just a title reference. I did have one other thing that I put in the notes that I was going to...
I want you to tell me these things.
Yeah, I want to at least mention, because it's not surprising, and it's kind of a running theme in stuff that we've talked about, where there's no question I am not a Trump supporter and not a fan of the current era of the GOP and how it is navigating the political arena, for lack of better phrasing. It should come as no surprise to anyone who shares similar views or pays attention to just the facts of kind of what different things mean, that prior to even taking office, many of the campaign promises that President-elect Trump had campaigned on are being very consistently and systematically walked back to try to be able to say, oh, I couldn't do those things after all. For example, Dan Rather posted something on his Substack, which is, I'll include the link in the show notes, but it was talking about an interview where Trump acknowledged that he may or may not be able to reduce grocery prices like he said he would, making sure they would be lowered on day one, because imagine this, once things go up in price, it's really tough to reduce them.
Wait, are you telling me that the President of the United States of America can't control the price of items in the grocery store?
You know, this might come as a surprise to you, given the outrage over fuel prices a couple of years ago. But, the president can't control fuel prices either.
What? Next thing you're going to tell me is they also can't control the weather.
Man, this is going to be a sad day for you. But yes, I mean, it's just so asinine to think about all these different things. And I know we have talked about the gas price thing on the show. I know I've even posted about it in different places. Like, if you do not understand how prices are determined in the United States economical model, and you truly believe the president can do a whole lot about it, you are so misguided that I do not have any way to try to explain it to you. And the problem is that there are a large number of Americans who truly do believe the president can just do it.
I'm looking at this article, and there's a screenshot from Twitter, and
I almost put this in, so yeah, go ahead.
So I wanted to point out that it shows that Sam Stein posted, Trump tells Time, I'm assuming that's Time magazine, he's not sure he can get the price of groceries down. And the quote is from President-elect, it's hard to bring things down once they're up. It's very hard. And I'm gonna leave all the really obvious jokes behind and go to the person who was posting this. It was somebody who was reposting Sam Stein, or retweeting, I guess, is that the term?
It was.
What is it
now that it's been rebranded as X, I really don't know what they want to try to call it, but it's retweeting.
Remarking the spot?
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna continue to call it Twitter because
I am too.
Because man, that guy's a piece of work. But it's somebody, Adam Kinzinger, apologies if the pronunciation is incorrect, wrote ha 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 ha, and it's more than 2 full lines of ha's and then followed by infinity. And I'm amused by that because it's really funny. Yeah. But also, it occurred to me he could have put 1 ha and infinity, and that would be equal.
Yes.
It's just
the visual impact of that many ha's is certainly more interesting than
fantastic for sure.
I'm losing the word. It's not figurative. It's not literal. It's the
symbolic.
No, the like mathematically proper syntax. The whole. What's the single word you would use to refer to that?
I don't know.
Yeah. Either way, so. It's more interesting visually to have that many ha's than it is to be correctly syntactical, for lack of better phrasing, to have a single ha with infinity.
Well, I mean, it just means that it doesn't matter how many ha's you put. It's, but here's how I translate it, or here's the real world difference. It's like when I have this many ha's versus 1 ha, and I do Command C, it's the same. But when I do Command P, it's just going to fill up my screen much faster. We have a number of different ways set up for you to get in touch with us to provide feedback, ask questions, or just comment in about something we've discussed.
You can hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at untitled_hosts, or shoot an email over to untitled.hosts@gmail.com.
Or get in touch directly with Jesse at jthart.com, or get in touch with me, John, via telepathy.
If you would like to support our work or are interested in listening to our new after show feed, head over to patreon.com/theUntitledPodcast and take a look at the options we have set up.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you've enjoyed the show.
And we hope to connect with more of you as we continue this journey.
That's a wrap.